I was given this phone to repair from a friend of our family. After losing his iPhone 7 in a skiing accident, he was handed down this iPhone 11 from his daughter. It's been repaired before by one of those shopping centre pop-up repair booths. It's been poorly repaired, with pieces loose and a few screws rattling around inside. The battery has expanded, breaking the display away from the frame, with the screws still remaining behind. The screen is also cracked beneath that protector, and so is the back glass, which, like the screen, is also lifting away from the frame. Judging by the glass, it's already a replacement. Powering up the phone, it only had enough apple juice left in that battery to display the boot logo for just a few seconds. We'll need to connect the charger in order to get this phone to boot into iOS. Here we can see the battery is prompting us to service it, the display is unknown, and there's a Face ID issue. Thanks to Apple's parts pairing, I can prove this battery installed is the original genuine Apple battery that shipped with the phone. Apple rates it at having 78% health. Before jumping into the repair, it's a good idea to see what else might be wrong that wasn't obvious from a first glance. So I'll test this device using iTest, my own app which I developed to test hardware and software functionality of mobile devices. There's over 17 different tests which help give us a better idea on this phone's condition, in addition to the obvious cosmetic issues. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cameras, the LED flash are all working. But there's an issue with the proximity sensor. This sensor is responsible for the phone screen turning off when you're in a phone call, preventing you from pressing buttons on the screen. This one's behaving erratically. When the screen is sitting against the frame, it's being triggered. Lift the screen up and it disengages. As for that 78% battery health, the phone doesn't even last 5 seconds before switching off. So there's quite a list of things to repair on this iPhone 11. But at least I didn't have to pry the screen up, as the battery has already done that for us. In fact, it's broken the retaining tabs from the bottom of the screen, meaning the pentalobe screws at the bottom of the phone are still installed. This is the earpiece speaker and sensor cable. It's supposed to be screwed to the back of the screen, but has just been left to float around inside by the previous repairman. The reason Face ID no longer works is quite simple. This cable has been damaged. From the screws that were left loose inside the phone, one's been magnetized to the back of the speaker, and as the screen was pressed down, the screw has cut into the cable, breaking Face ID. There was also no adhesive gasket installed, which has allowed dust and other grime to enter the phone. We're going to have to get this all cleaned up before I can hand it back. Just take a look at that battery. That's one spicy pillow. For parts, I'll be using a new display, back glass, battery, volume flex cable, and adhesive. I'll start by removing the damaged parts and recovering the loose screws, because unlike the person before me, I'll be actually installing them. You might argue this phone is beyond saving, because there's just so much wrong with it. But with the parts costing less than $55 or 80 Australian, I think we'll be able to make this a very usable phone. And as he works as a builder, having the newest and most expensive phone, it could easily get damaged. But this one, he won't have to be so precious about. And it'll be an upgrade over his iPhone 7. I'll need to remove the speaker and vibration motor in order to access the battery release tabs. With the tabs removed, the battery can be pulled free. This battery is exactly 4 years old, but has failed quite dramatically. What I initially thought was the glass separating from the frame was actually the frame separating from itself, and that separation has ripped the mute switch cable. This damage has again been caused by the previous repairman who has incorrectly removed the back glass. Because the original glass has been removed, this replacement will be much easier to fit. The original adhesive is so strong, it's recommended you have a laser machine burn away the adhesive before prying up the glass. I've done this several times and I can say I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. How I knew this glass was a replacement even before opening the phone was the fact it had larger holes around each camera lens. The original glass extends under the camera lenses, before the lenses are welded onto the frame. It's important not to leave any glass or residue behind, otherwise the new glass panel will not sit flush with the frame. Often when you replace the back glass on an iPhone, the little decorative rings around the cameras fall down as there's no longer any glass beneath them. So I'll add these little O-rings I purchased to solve this issue. They're also supposed to help with maintaining some form of resistance to liquid, but I wouldn't be guaranteeing that with this phone. Next, I'll superglue the loose section of sheet metal to the frame. Originally this was spot welded, and while I have a mini spot welder, it's still too large to weld these tiny tabs back to the frame. Nevertheless, superglue should work just fine. Once it's set, it's time to get the back glass installed. I'll remove the protective film and apply some additional liquid adhesive. Once the microphone mesh is installed onto the back glass, the new panel can be attached and clamped into place until the glue is cured. After which the clamps can be removed and we can continue assembling the phone. I'll need to replace the volume buttons at this stage as they'll be inaccessible after the battery goes in. There's 4 screws and 1 connector attaching it to the phone. Once removed, I can transfer the mute switch across to the new cable. This is done by bending the thin retaining loops up to remove the button and then tightening them back down on the new cable after the button is positioned. Then we can get the new cable installed in the housing using its correct screws and adhering the cable into place. Before installing the new battery, I'll fasten the speaker and vibration motor back into place. It was at this point I noticed an interconnect pin was incorrectly positioned. It had become slightly deformed because of this. However, I'll do my best to correct it and orientate it correctly. Now it's come time to clean the insides of the iPhone, removing any grime, fingerprints and remnants of old adhesive gasket. After which the battery can be installed along with the new adhesive gasket. Before attaching the new display, we'll need to install the earpiece sensor cable using the screws we recovered earlier. However, one was still missing, so I salvaged one from a parts phone. But yet another screw turned up along the way. As it turned out, it came from the new display. I noticed most of the screws on the display were loose and needed tightening. So there's something to check if repairing your own phone. Finally, we can attach the new display to our refurbished iPhone 11. It's a bit tricky to get the battery bracket installed as the display cables get in the way, so extra caution needs to be taken so that they're not damaged when installing this bracket. Once attached, it's time for a test with iTest. In the color and burn-in test, we can see the display is slightly darker towards the bottom edge. It's only minor and I've had new iPhones with similar issues, but it's noticeable when performing this test. Another issue is the proximity sensor now doesn't work at all. A simple unplug and replug later, it's working. Maybe I didn't connect the cable correctly, or some dust prevented a good connection. Either way, it's always good to test before adhering the display down, as you don't want to have to pry the phone open and apply new adhesive for such a simple issue. With the phone now in a working, refurbished condition, it's time to seal it up. I'll remove the protective film from the adhesive and attach the screen to the frame. I'll also have to loosen those pentalobe screws we never removed at the start as the old screen had broken away. Once the new screen has been pressed into place, they can be retightened. Now all that's left to do is remove the plastic protective film from our new display and back glass. and we're done. So this is it, an iPhone 11 that's had a pretty hard life, with many previous poorly performed repairs, and when I was handed it, it was broken yet again. Hopefully it suits its new owner well and lives on for many years to come. And on that note, this has been a Hugh Jeffries video. If you like what you saw, consider subscribing and check out the phone restoration playlist for more videos just like this one. And if you're looking for any used devices, be sure to check out my online store, link for which is down in the description. That's all for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.